This is the Fabuletta Air Fryer, and today we're looking at smart home kitchen tech. Fabuletta very kindly sent this to me, so thank you very much. And we're going to be unboxing it, testing it, and looking at some of the tech because I believe it has a display so you can program it and use some of its features for cooking food. It came in a larger box than this. I've taken it out of that. It's got a very nice, neat display of what you are getting. A quick note here, due to the length of this video, if you want to skip to the pros and the cons nearer the end of the video, the timestamp is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Okay, so the first thing I'm greeted by is some packaging, and inside that it looks to be a user manual. So as you can see here, it comes with a user manual, and on the back it says recipes. So I'm assuming on this side it talks about recipes, and on the other side it's going to be the user manual. Very good inclusion of a recipe book. I think that's super useful, and we'll have a look at that in 1 second. So on the far right hand side, I hope you can see this, there is a little plug. That is the plug for the air fryer, but I assume we have to take the part out first. So you've got the base of the actual machine. So this, I believe, is the base of the basket where all the food will go, but we'll discover everything else that comes with it and how to set it up shortly. So we'll put that aside. We're going to take off this layer here. Okay, there's the air fryer. And then there's nothing else in the box, just some packaging. Okay, so this is what we got in the box, and it was exactly what I was expecting. A recipe book, and as you can see here, it looks very good. It seems to give you quite a few options. There's a vegetarian option of crispy tofu. It gives some great options there, and I'm assuming it takes you through how to cook them, which is great. And then on the other side, we've got the air fryer manual, and this will tell you probably how to set it up, how to use it, and so much more. So we're going to take the wrapping off. Oh, we're getting a glimpse at the grey colour. That looks beautiful. I've only just taken the packaging off, but I think you'll agree the colour looks absolutely stunning. Okay, this is the first look at the air fryer, and it looks amazing. It seems to have very detailed instructions on the screen, so it seems to tell you everything you need to do, what the buttons do, how to use them, and so much more. This is the handle for the basket. You can see it's got some lovely chrome embellishment, and I've gone for the grey colour. This I'm going to have to work out, but I think it will go in the basket. We'll find out by reading the instructions. Assume we take this out. Yeah. This is the basket for where you cook. Then what you do is you're going to place this into the basket. I'm pretty sure this will fit in there, and that will be where your food is put on. We'll just see if that fits in. That seems to go in just as you'd expect. So I'm placing that in. So the instructions are super easy to understand. It tells me to place this on the bottom of the basket, as I have already done. So I've followed the instructions already, and it's super easy to understand so far, telling me what to do, how to use it, how the wiring works, etc, etc. Before we use this to cook, there's a few things to point out. There's a max level in the basket. Do not overfill from this level, or I'm assuming it just won't cook. The handle is a very nice chrome, although it's probably already going to have some fingerprints on, and everything so far seems to fit in just as you'd expect. The basket clips in. All these instructions look really premium, and as you can see, it tells you exactly how to use it, the buttons and the display. This is the tech stuff that I'm looking forward to looking at, because it's going to tell you how to use it, and that is what I'm excited for. The other great thing about this air fryer is that it gives you instructions specifically of how long things will take. This is super useful because if you're a newbie to an air fryer like me, then I have no clue how long things are going to take. And this is clearly telling me, for example, fries, the default temperature which is set, and how long they take to cook, and it will remind me to shake things out. That is super useful. So you join me in my kitchen, and I'm sure you'll agree the grey colour works great with my grey kitchen. So thank you very much for making a colour that works so well. I've got the 3-pin plug here. I'm going to plug it in to my socket. The beep tells me the air fryer is switched on, and then there's a power button on the machine itself, which I'm just going to show you. Now, there are some key instructions on the air fryer itself, telling you how to use it, etc, etc. This all peels off. There is actually a display under there. For example, they suggest you do a test run when you get it, so that you can make sure any residue from perhaps when it was built are removed, and so much more. So I suggest doing a test run like it says, and I will be doing this and demonstrating this shortly. But furthermore, keeping a distance from the top of the air fryer and your ceiling, and the top of the back of the air fryer from the wall. It tells you the measurements and how much distance you need to keep from these units. Now this is where the technology comes in. The Fabuletta has a display. If I switch it on at the wall, you'll see it lights up and it's switching on. I'm going to switch it off because I don't want it on at the moment. but you can preheat the machine. I'm not sure how to get it off. That's off. And all the instructions in the manual are very clear of what to use for the test run. And I'm going to follow these to the T, and I'm going to show you how they work. So this is the tray. I'm going to do as the instructions say, which is place some slices of lemon. They're really weird slices, but I'm going to place them in the air fryer tray as the instructions tell me to. It tells me that I turn the air fryer on when I've got the lemons in. So I'm putting the lemons in just as directed. I'm assuming I just spread them out, just like I would be cooking food in it. And I think this is good, obviously, when it's new from the factory. I'm going to put the tray in as instructed. You can hear it beep because I put the tray in. Okay, so as instructed, I've got to press the power button. I've then got to select the chips feature, which is automatically selected by the flashing light. It's telling me the temperature is 190 degrees. This instruction manual tells me to set the temperature to 200 degrees. So I think what I have to do is press, I'm not sure, temperature/time. Now the temperature is flashing, and I'm going to make that 200 degrees Celsius. That is what the manual tells me to do, and I'm going to do that. It says time 10 minutes. So I'm now going to press the temperature time button. It says 25 minutes. I'm going to change that down to 10 minutes as the instruction manual tells me to do. It then says press the start button to begin heating, and the timer will start counting down. So I'm pressing the button, and I can hear it switching on, which is super duper exciting. So what it's going to do is it's going to heat. It will then stop heating and beep several times when finished. Then I have to remove the basket and let that cool, and all the instructions are here. I've got the lemons in. It's going to do that. Super exciting. And I'll see you when it's done. 10 minutes, tells me the time, tells me the temperature. Let's see how it does. So the air fryer's built-in function is now telling me to shake it. It assumes I'm actually cooking fries or chips if you're in the UK, and thus that you need to shake it so that the oil and the chips cook evenly. Obviously I'm not cooking fries, I'm cooking lemons, but I am still going to do it just so that you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully that error message or code will go away. So I take it out, imagine I've shaked it, put it straight back in, and the air fryer knows that I've shaked it, or shook it I should say, and it's going to resume the timer at 2 minutes. Very clever. It turns off when I take the tray out, and it resumes when I put it back in. Well done, good feature. Okay, so I've removed the lemons, I've given the tray a wipe out. That was super easy. I'm actually very impressed. I literally got a damp, well, not even damp to be honest with you, a cloth, and I've given it a wipe out on the inside just to get any of the sticky lemon residue off, and it's managed to do it very easily. So I'm going to leave this to cool, as the manual says, basket for 10 to 30 minutes. It's cooling fairly well already. I've got my hand in it. It's not too hot. And then I think I'm going to make some lovely fries or chips for my lunch, and we're going to test that out and see how it does with actual food. Okay, so I'm going to make some halloumi, and I'm putting it on preheat, 200 degrees Celsius for, I believe, 4 minutes. Yeah, 4 minutes. So I'm going to press start. That's going to do that. I'm then going to put the halloumi inside the machine, and I'm also making some chips. Super excited to see how this turns out. I'll keep you updated. The preheating is done, and the air fryer has given me some great instructions. Add food. So it is really, really smart. It just knows what I'm doing. So I'm going to take the tray out. It's preheated. I can feel, oh, it's boiling hot. Probably should not have touched that. That was really clever. Not. I'm now going to add my halloumi. I did not realise how hot this would be. Probably shouldn't put it on the surface. Going to add my food. So I'm cooking some halloumi. I've just put some light seasoning of oil. It does say don't add any oil to the actual dish, so I'm just going to put that in. I'm going to place it in here. I'm going to put it on the fries function, as you will see shortly. So I'm putting it on fries function, as I have read I should do. Fries, and I'm going to set it to degrees Celsius 200. So we're going to make that 200. And minutes, I've been told 8 minutes should do it, but we have to turn it halfway through. So I will make sure that at 4 minutes in, I turn it around. So we're going to see how it looks. Begin. Super exciting. I am being instructed to shake my halloumi, and I know I need to turn it around the other way, so I'm going to do exactly as the air fryer says. I'm getting a fork ready. I'm going to shake the halloumi. It's beeping at me to say that I've missed it. I missed it by a minute. I'm going to take it out. Ooh, you can see it started to cook. Let me actually move it so you can see. It's interesting how it's going to do. We're going to turn it over. It should go golden brown. I've never cooked halloumi in this air fryer. I've never cooked anything in an air fryer, and I put it on the fries function. I don't know if that's what I'm meant to use, but that is what I have used. So we're going to see if I turn it over. That looks to me like it's going to need more than just 3 minutes, but you can see areas are going golden brown. So I'm going to place it back in. It automatically resumes, but I think there should be a way for me to add some more time to this. So I'm going to change the time to 6 more minutes, and I think that'll do it. Will it do it? Let's see. I'm hoping it will let me add time. 6 minutes. Excellent. I love the fact I can add time to it. I can reduce time. I'm keeping an eye on it, and the food will be lovely when it's done. Okay, so my machine has ended, and this is the food it's produced. I might have cooked it for a tiny bit too long, but it looks super yummy. I cannot wait to test it. I might try a tiny little bit of my halloumi just to see how it tastes. It's steaming, lovely, warm, delicious looking halloumi, and I'm going to taste a bit, see how it does. You can see that's going to be amazing with chips, because the oil has made the outside of it very crispy, and the inside is still a bit chewy. Okay, so here are my chips. I believe they need to go in for 20-ish minutes. I've got it on preheat again, but the machine seems to know that it is already warm because it's only preheating for 2 minutes instead of the 4. Okay, so it says here cook time is about 20 minutes for the chips. So I'm going to put them in the machine itself. As you can see, it's got 1 minute left, so I should be able to put that in. Now I'm going to switch it off, make sure the chip function is on, and put all the chips in. So this is going to be super yummy, and I cannot wait to see how they come out. I'm putting them in. I've put light amount of oil on, but I haven't gone overboard. I put a little bit of salt on already. We'll put them in, and we're going to see how long it takes. It should take 20 minutes with a shake in between. So that is what I'm going to aim to do. It's only a 1-portion meal today, but I am going to be cooking some more for family soon. Okay, so you join me with the air fryer telling me to shake the chips because we are halfway through the 20 minutes. We're 9 minutes left now, so I'm going to take it out and we're going to have a look. Ooh, they look nice. So they're looking good. I'm going to do as the air fryer suggests, which is shake them round. Move them around a little bit. They're looking quite good. Definitely need 9 more minutes minimum, maybe a bit more. We'll do 9 minutes and see how they are. If we need to add more, we will. But I don't want to do what I did with the halloumi, which was by 1 or 2 minutes, perhaps overcooked it. Still tastes amazing, the halloumi, can I say. We're going to see how the chips turn out. Okay, so this was really a learning curve for me. We've got 1 minute left on the air fryer, and I have made chips and halloumi. I'm going to put them on this plate and see how they look. This was a test run for 1 person. Normally we'd be cooking for 3, and I think that might be what we do tomorrow, depending on the outcome of today. I can say the halloumi was amazing. I've tested that already. Delicious. There's some in there. What I've done is I've put 1 minute 200 degrees Celsius run with some chips and halloumi. The chips had just finished cooking, and I wanted the halloumi to be warmed up a little bit. It says end at the top. That means the air fryer is done. I believe it will automatically stop. That's what it did earlier, but I think that ends. So I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to switch off at the wall. That didn't automatically go off. I don't know why. It did before, so I'm not sure why it didn't go off. It's off now, so perhaps I did something wrong, or perhaps the machine just didn't work, malfunctioned. This is what we got. We got halloumi and we got chips, and they look good. So here's my plate. I'm going to put it all out nicely. This is what I got from the first time ever using this machine. First time I've ever used an air fryer in my life. First time I've ever had experience with this machine, and that I'm going to get some nice, should probably have some veg with this. That looks so good. I'm so impressed. I have not ever really seen a meal look that good from an air fryer. Homemade, nice chips. Let's taste one of these and see how they taste. Crisp on the outside. They're definitely are potatoes. They're crispy on the outside, and they taste obviously homemade, but nice chips. Very good. I'm going to tuck into my meal and let you know how it goes. Obviously I could have cooked broccoli or some other veg to go with the meal, but we're going to trial it and see how it goes. Okay, it's the dreaded cleaning time, but I'm very happy to say this is super easy to clean. First of all, it doesn't look too dirty. I'm going to remove this tray. You can see there's some oil and there's a few bits of dirt. Most of the dirt has seeped through to the lower layer, but I've got some great news. Super easy to clean. I was thoroughly impressed with my meal. I wiped down with a damp cloth and it was easily cleaned, but there are deeper cleaning instructions in the manual if you wish to give it a deeper clean if you've used it with grease. I don't want to make this into a cooking vlog, although I will say I've cooked some other things in there. So kale, I cooked, it was very tasty. It took less than 10 minutes, including preheating the machine. I also tried some zucchini fries. These went a little bit wrong, to be honest with you, because my batter didn't turn out great, but the machine still cooked it fairly well. So having tried a fair few meals, chips, halloumi, some kale, some zucchini fries, and basically just some generally battered food, it has done very, very well. I am very pleased with this machine, and I know it can be used for other purposes. Before we move on to the pros and the cons, a brief quality control issue is the rubber pads on the base of the holder which you put the food on. One of them has split already on my machine. Every other one is fine, so I'm assuming it's just got damaged when it's been pushed in and out for cleaning. But just to mention, it has ripped on one side and it does fall off every now and then, although it's perfectly fine when cooking and stays in, but I thought I would mention it. Okay, so as a summary, there are a few pros and cons I want to talk about. First and foremost, the pros. It's super easy to use. Generally, it cooks food well, although you do have to get used to the way it cooks and the fact that you are responsible for shaking and moving the food around, which I talk about a bit later. Thirdly, it's got a really stylish design. It fits into a modern kitchen aesthetic, and I think it's really well built. It's affordable, it's not too expensive, so it's definitely a good first air fryer for many people, and I think it's available to most people with most budgets. Great customer support. I have worked extensively with this company, and I know that their customer support is incredible. They reply to my emails very, very quickly, so I am very impressed with their customer support. It's easy to clean. I personally think generally just wiping it down with a J-cloth, although you can give it a deeper clean in the dishwasher and in Fairy Liquid. And also it's a healthier or easier alternative to other methods of cooking. So I mentioned earlier that it's meant to use less oil, which obviously depends how much you put on, but generally it cooks without as much oil. So it is a healthier alternative. And because the fact it's so easy to clean and the fact that it's quite a small design, it's not perhaps as hard as if you were cooking with an oven. So I think generally it's an easier alternative to other methods of cooking. On the other hand, there was an absolutely awful smell during the use of this air fryer. I am pleased to report that having used this quite a few times, the smell is starting to wear off to the point where it's not bothering us really anymore. Although when I first used it for a fair few times, the smell was quite off-putting, quite strong, quite electrical. Although since speaking with the company, they were very helpful as always. Their customer support was excellent. They offered me methods to try and prevent the smell, which was to use the test run with lemons. I have done that a fair few times, but I'm just mentioning it did take quite a few runs to get rid of the smell. Do not be concerned if this happens to you, but bear in mind for the first, week or so while you're using it, it will smell a bit weird, and it did put us off a little bit. As I say though, this has pretty much rectified itself and it's wearing off now. Although, do bear in mind, this is not a full replacement for all cooking methods, so not all foods can be cooked in this. I think wet batter, perhaps you would struggle with if you were making tempura or battering some sort of broccoli or halloumi or something along those lines, then I think you'd struggle to cook that in an air fryer. It also has a slightly limited capacity. I know Fabuletta give the numbers of how many people the basket should provide food for. I would say 3 or 4 people mostly. I think that's okay, to be honest with you. Obviously, the more food, the longer it takes, in my experience, and also you do need to shake it more more frequently so that it gets an even cook. Which leads me on to my next point. You do need to make sure you're paying attention to the food. You need to shake it, you need to move it around so that it gets evenly cooked by the machine. It's not necessarily able to cook perhaps when you've got chips on top of each other, so you do need to shake it and pay close attention to it. Now, this does sound like quite a few cons, but if I talk about most of them in a very simplistic way, the smell is wearing off, so that is a positive, and hopefully this will continue to wear off to the point where it won't be applicable or you won't really notice it. The other thing I want to mention, as I say, is the full replacement for other cooking methods. I don't think it's marketed to be this, so actually it fits its category very well. It cooks things very well. I've been cooking kale, halloumi, and it is very versatile. As for the limited capacity, I think most families who have 3 to 4 people, especially if they have children, this will be more than good enough for. And in terms of turning for food for an even cook, this isn't too hard. It reminds you to shake it halfway through, and I think no matter when you're cooking, you do have to pay attention. So most of these points aren't too severe, but I do think it is important I mention them to you.